They're all dead. Don't have to wait this time, 'cause I'm giving up on my sense of control. Back to the good old US of A. Will to be, damn it.
Hibiki Highspots back again, this time going back, part 2, the Reign of Terror with my good friend Melo Dotty. What's up? Welcome back. Thanks for agreeing to come back. I don't know how we made it after the first part of the Reign of Terror, but somehow we're trudging through, we're rolling up the sleeves, we're digging into one of the shittiest times in WWE history before we get to 20-minute promos at the beginning of Raw and all that stuff. Where can everyone catch you, Melo, and all that you do?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at Melo Dotty. You can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Melo Dotty. Keep everything nice and simple. It's a pleasure to be back, and I am super excited to get right down into the dirt. It's big.
Right into the thick of things. And I know I was blown away by the amount of notes you took for the first part of this, but you've added even more to your notes you already had, so God only knows what you got in store. And as always, check us out, Broken Optics, The Melee, both of us with our buddy Optic, and Kite Man TJ over there on Twitch. And hit that red button down below, subscribe, all the goodness, retro gaming, pro wrestling, heavy metal podcast, Terry Bollea bullshit, everything in between. Your official Hibiki TMD merch, unionsmack.bigcartel.com. 2003, the last time we did the Reign of Terror, Mello, we ended off part 1, WrestleMania 19. Triple H goes over on Booker T. One of the worst booking decisions probably in the history of the company, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure you're going to agree with that.
Absolutely. There's just like, I mean, there's been some bad choices, but that's got to be in top 5, easily.
Especially the way that the whole road to that match, to that Mania 19, just the racial overtones, beating Booker T down, and just like, he's the hero's guy. If there was ever a situation for the babyface to overcome, you think it would have been that one. C'est la vie. Triple H wins, by the way, clean, completely clean, after a pedigree, and it took him 30 seconds almost to cover him. You can go back, you can time it. Man, and by the way, that match was placed dead ass in the middle of the fucking card on top of it. Didn't do it any favors, but
it's where it belongs. My God, what a stinker that was.
Best left.
Like, I swear half the segments for that match build-up were, like, I swear half the segments were filmed in the bathroom.
Yeah, and that's where they belong, in the toilet, because I don't even know if the heart was in the right place for that one. You know, like, it's...
I think Booker was, like, all excited about it, but Triple H, I don't know. It was like he looked down on him. I don't know if he just wasn't into the program, but to bust out the, like, people like, you don't get to be champion. It's like, wow, man. Like, wow.
And for anyone that's
you win.
For anyone that's never seen that match or that build or that angle in general, imagine the movie Django Unchained, if you will, right? Mm-hmm. But... flip the ending, completely flip it. How would that leave you, leaving the theater with that taste in your mouth? That's what we got here, the pro wrestling version of that movie. But we're not talking about Booker T, because after Mania 19, this would segue us into the Backlash main event, the 6-man tag. Anything noteworthy you want to talk about that happened on Raw leading up to that Backlash?
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the next night on Raw. Like, you know, Rock out there talking, oh man, I'm the greatest, I'm the best thing ever, I've done it all, I'm done, no one ever has not challenged me. And then out came March and Goldberg, and it was like, I just watched this moment back right before this show just to expand. Man, it still gives you chills, even though you know it's coming after it. Just Rock's reaction, Goldberg stomping out in that way too thick leather jacket of his. And then the crowd just losing their collective minds, thinking, oh my God, it's gone back. but they did not book Goldberg like we remembered him. Oh, no.
No.
Yep. This is Backlash. There's only 2 matches that I can remember off of Backlash, and that's Rock and Goldberg and the aforementioned 6-man tag. One side of the ring, Triple H, Ric Flair, and apparently their best friend, Chris Jericho, defeat who? Michaels, Kevin Nash, and people like you, Booker T. This is where it's got to.
The fact that Chris Jericho is on his team and I know it's pro wrestling, people, suspend your disbelief. But 1 year earlier, they were wrestling for the WWE World Heavyweight title at WrestleMania 18 after Jericho hired the services of his wife to be in his corner. Now they're buddies.
And
Fuck it.
Didn't one of them run over Triple H's little dog or something? And that's what half the feud was over. The only thing I can really remember about that match is Jericho's tights because they were amazing.
Yeah. Now, I will say on part 1, we did talk about the Shawn Michaels Triple H feud, like that amazing SummerSlam 02 match. Those two were they have obviously been tight since back in the Attitude Era and all that, and they were tight during this, buddies in real life. But those matches were so good, and the storyline, for the most part, was so good that you believed it. What I had trouble believing, even then, at 19 years old watching this, was that Kevin Nash was his sworn enemy now. You knew the reason Nash was even there is because they're fucking buddies in real life. Why wouldn't you flip? Why wouldn't you? I don't know. We're not done with Nash. We'll get there in a little bit. This match was so lackluster. I literally remembered nothing of note coming out of it except the result.
Yep. That's pretty much where I am because it was just kind of a standard match. Some shenanigans happened here or there, but really, it was a...
It was. We're talking off air. We were talking off air. The scary part is, had Goldberg not come in the day after Mania debut, this probably would have main evented this pay-per-view.
Just another way to get the game out of not defending his gold.
And it's not the fact that, it's a big fact, but it's not just the fact that Booker T lost at Mania clean the way he did and after that build. You think they maybe, follow up and capitalize on that going forward? No, we were right into Kevin Nash land. It was like next, immediately.
You got to move over. Big Kev's here now.
Yeah, real star.
He's good, man. No, man, no.
Did Kevin Nash...
I love Nash, don't get me wrong. I love him, but, no, not the right time.
Did Kevin Nash post, 98 ever do anything for you?
I always liked his promos, but I never really wanted to see him wrestle because, it's like Jim Cornette said that one time, where it's when he said he had to train another guy to be just like, it was I had to remember 5 moves. There was the kick and the elbow and the fucking hair, all that stuff. That's Kevin Nash to a T.
Don't forget the almighty Snake Eyes.
I do, but man, you want to slow down a main event? Slap him in there.
What was even the crux of this storyline for the legs of this feud between him and Nash that they went with going into the next pay-per-view? It was Judgment Day, right?
I think Judgment Day was next. Honestly, up until Insurrection, it's a blur to me. The only thing I really remember is in May, and I looked up the date. It was May 26th. So I guess this would be probably right before Judgment Day. That's when Orton returned. He stopped giving us his RNN news updates. He returned to attack Shawn Michaels and Nash because in this match, for some reason, Shawn Michaels and Flair were in a handicap match against Triple H. So Flair turns on Michaels, and this is all going down. I think they were treading water until Batista came back.
Right, because he was injured at the time.
That's correct. During this period, Batista is injured. And I don't really notice anything until we get into the Nash feud proper, which I remember to be Insurrection in June.
And I remember nothing about that match, so I'm glad you wrote it down in your notes. I do have I have the Judgment Day 03 DVD for some reason somewhere.
I think I do too, and I can't remember it, and that's weird because I used to watch those things religiously.
I got mine. It was like it was like a 2-pack. It was like Bad Blood and Judgment Day 2-for-1 or something.
I think I bought the exact same 2-pack.
Nice. I do know that the Judgment Day match, I believe, ended in a DQ.
Yep. And then it moved on to Insurrection.
Yep.
And this was like a week or two after Orton returned. And it was insurrection. So that means it's over in the UK, I believe, does it not?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So that's where we first saw like the Triple H Nash single stuff. It was a street fight, baby, for the heavyweight title. Triple H defeated Kevin Nash, and it's like, oh, thank God that's over. No.
It's amazing
June
to me.
15th, 8 days later, Bad Blood, baby. Guess what? Who's main eventing? Triple H and Nash again in a Hell in a Cell.
Special guest referee making his return to the company for this, Mick Foley. A little wrinkle thrown in.
And what is this match for? The big gold belt.
The Triple H Memorial Championship belt. This is what it was at the time. Let's be real.
We love that big gold belt here, though.
It's amazing to me how this may be the most diverse, well-rounded their roster had ever been during this time period. I think that's fair to say, right?
It absolutely is, because you know what I know. You know what I remember most about this? I don't remember the Bad Blood match at all, but I do remember it was somewhere around here. There was a Monday Night Raw. It was in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and there was a steel cage match between Nash and Triple H for the big gold belt. And I remember that very vividly, but also incredibly hazy, because let me tell you, I was not in my right mind at the time, but I was in the audience.
Really?
Yep. Me and all my buddies, we were there to watch Triple H and Nash. Really, it was everything else, but honestly, Ron never came to Halifax often, so it was just kind of cool.
Right.
Mostly, I remember the house shows a year or two before, during the Invasion era, like when I got to see things like Jericho versus RVD and like Rhino versus Kurt Angle and things like that. Like, those were good house shows. These ones, no. Like, that was about the time my friends started to fall out of wrestling, was a little bit after that show, a little bit after this Bad Blood period.
It's around the time, too, the first time Raw and SmackDown started doing separate touring house shows, too, just the Raw brand and SmackDown. And for anyone with eyes, functioning eyeballs, knows that SmackDown was the far superior show at that time. But my point is, that diverse roster, you had all of these goddamn options. You could have brought guys over from the Blue Brand. You could have done, you're Vince McMahon, you got your little action figure collection. You can do whatever the fuck you want, pal. This
Absolutely.
is what you go with. A guy who
I
a
know.
year ago tore his quad in one of the most legendary meme-worthy moments in the history of wrestling. And you know what? God damn it, he's mended up. Let's just go with him. The spring chicken
I
named
remember
Kevin
that.
Nash.
I was in a room with 10 other people when that happened. Everybody else looked really confused and said, "What's going on? Why is Shawn Michaels? Why is he laying on the ground?" I think he broke his leg again.
I remember watching that live too, and I was confused. I'm like, what just happened? Because
Yeah.
Everyone's already seen that clip. We don't have to explain it any more than we have. The match, though, Bad Blood, I'm going to say it real quick and real simple. This match fucking sucked. It was not good. I did not enjoy it. The pacing was totally off. Triple H is as good as his partner. Triple H isn't a Shawn Michaels. Triple H is not a Bret Hart. He's not, dare I say, someone like a Johnny Gargano and Adam Cole. Triple H is only as good with the guy he's in there with. Now, God bless him. I've seen Triple H pull some miracles out with matches with Great Khali, of all people. Dare I say Batista. But it's crazy as good of friends that these guys were, Melo. They had absolutely zero chemistry in the ring together. My opinion.
Oh, for sure. It was like they both were doing like some kind of weird meme competition to see who could get the most crap in. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like, "I'm going to do my thing." "No, it's Big Kev's time. You're getting slammed." And then like, "Yeah, all right, time for a knee." And then they're just throwing random moves. It was kind of like a video game, but in slow motion.
Exactly. It was not good.
I remember, oh my God, I remember this so vividly. Like, Triple H, I hate to even make this comparison. I really do. I've always liked Triple H. But Triple H bugged me. And my friend explained it to me when I was young. I probably told this story already, but he said, Triple H would be cool if he wasn't hanging around with Vince and stuff all the time. Like, to me, Triple H is a lot like a Jeff Jarrett. And I hate saying that because I know those two probably aren't the best of friends, but they're very similar in their, like, utility. You can get a great match out of both of them, but it depends who they're working with.
That, and they're both those guys that, for as many world belts as they win, for the longevity and the success they have, they're always going to have those asterisks beside their names, because of the routes they chose to kind of go.
Nepotism.
That, and just it is what it is. This, like we said, this feud was not good. I would say avoid this match at all costs. That's my opinion on this match, hands down.
On the rating of like how good to how bad this match is, I would rate it like 5 out of 10 Giant Gonzalez versus Undertakers at WrestleManias. So like, don't watch this.
Yeah. The best part about Kevin Nash at this time was that he came back as just Kevin Nash, no NWO. So if you're just Kevin Nash without that NWO,
he kept the Diesel Blues.
He did, and I was going to say his singlet. He still had Big Daddy on his, but he cut off the word cool.
Sometimes it was like just Nash,
yeah,
and it's Big Daddy, and it's like who are you? Are you Diesel or are you Nash? Which one are you?
Yeah, I feel like they should have gone all the way with it. Just be Diesel again. Why not?
He did it in the Rumble, did he not?
He did. And then never to be
there
seen
you go.
again as
It's
Diesel.
probably the decision they should have went with. At least some people would have been like, Kevin Nash was probably a bigger name at that point, and I understand, but like it seemed like they were conflicted with the gimmick.
I feel like there was no reason also to change his Diesel music. They gave him that generic stock, rock house blues bullshit theme or whatever that was. Yes. The best part about Diesel at this, the best part about Kevin Nash at this time was his enhanced pyro. It was like the Big Daddy Cool pyro on fucking steroids, pal. It was great. I did like that.
Yeah, that's I think that was another reason I didn't mind seeing him on my TV, was like he talked really funny, and like, he made explosions happen and he threw people through things. So it was like, it's fine, but when he got in the ring, when it was time to get down to the nitty-gritty, my God, he needed help.
Yeah. Barely mobile at this point.
Barely mobile. And don't worry, the hits would continue, because this feud would continue all the way to SummerSlam.
Kinda. At least they threw on some bells and whistles, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Because
just, a couple bells and whistles. What kind of bells and whistles are we talking about there, though, buddy?
Big, bald, jacked up Jewish whistles named Bill Goldberg, which we were Goldberg was feuding with guys like Christian and Jericho at this time to kind of get his feet wet with it. You knew he was going to beat The Rock in his debut. Why would you have Goldberg? Scott, I'm sorry.
I hope this isn't wrong for your channel, but my favorite Goldberg moment in this build-up that you're talking about with the bells and whistles, because you're right, he was feuding with guys like Edge and Christian. The thing I remember clearest, and I don't know if any of your listeners are going to remember this wrestler or not, I remember Goldberg answering Rodney Mack's White Boy Challenge and destroying him.
Oh my God, I haven't thought about the White Boy Challenge forever.
He's the one who ended it. Goldberg.
Oh my God, thank you, Melo.
Right?
Jesus
How's that
Christ.
for a little bit of note taken for you, buddy?
I'm super impressed. I kind of almost just want to give you my channel for those details at that point. The White Boy Challenge. Oh my God. Imagine them doing that now.
I know, right? They should just call it the Gen Z Challenge or something.
The Boomer Invitational. Every time they want to bring back like one of these old part-timers.
And you have him start up the Kevin Nash Boomer Invitational, I will watch every episode he is on. Because I imagine it would be just like his run in TNA when he was like doing the paparazzi thing or whatever it was called.
Yeah, with Alex Shelley.
Oh my God. See, Nash can be money if you use him right.
Yes. Yep. I totally agree. And I know Alex Shelley.
The key is to keep him out of the ring. Unless he's in the ring with a bunch of little dudes that he's going to throw around like they're nothing, then he's great.
Yeah. I know Shelley's technically signed with Impact and he's injured right now or something like that, but if you're going to do the Boomer Invitational, throw out the dollar signs to get Shelley to come in with the camcorder and have like Boomer written on the camcorder. Oh my God, tremendous.
Oh, absolutely. You got to get, I think you should even get like little spot appearances from like Shark Boy and like Sanjay Dutt and all them.
Sanjay Dutt.
Oh my God. I forget which one you kept accusing of juicing. That was like my favorite running joke, like Nash did during that whole thing.
I promise this isn't a Kevin Nash episode, guys. I promise.
No, he's just one of the bells and whistles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to bring up the White Boy Challenge, and that brought up the paparazzi productions and all that stuff. But there were other bells and whistles. The Showstopper was also in this match. Guess who else was in this match? One Randall Orton.
Yep. His first prominent role in a main event match.
I would believe so. And it's neat that it's SummerSlam. considering like a year later.
Yeah, what we'd see, we'll get there in a little bit for sure.
We'll get to that someday. Someday we'll get to that. But we also have to talk about Y2J in his fabulous tights, because he is number 6 bell and whistle in this Elimination Chamber that is stacked. And I mean stacked with people when it was originally built to just be Triple H versus Goldberg. And you wonder why that is. I wondered why that was. So I went digging. And the only thing I could find out, and I think it was like Wrestling with Regret and a couple notes that I found from like the Wayback Machine. But apparently the rumor mill said that Goldberg was being punished at the time because there was an Australian tour that Goldberg did not want to go on to when Triple H was injured. Mm-hmm. They wanted Goldberg to go in his place, and he was like, nope, not doing that. So Vince, of course, that ruffled his feathers. So this 6-man match, this is an elaborate punishment for Goldberg.
Oh.
That's why the finish is so weird, and that's why it went the way it went.
It's a super weird finish. And
why don't you talk about that finish, buddy?
Well, I don't think it's any. First of all, I don't think it's any secret to anyone in the know that, you know, since day one that Goldberg made his debut in the WWE, that he wasn't a pain in the ass to work with. From everyone you asked that had to work with him backstage, he was miserable. He like you said, he creatively fought everything from storylines to going on tours. Like, dude, what the fuck do you want? You're not Steve Austin. I'm sorry. No. You were a flash in the pan, right place, total right time. You know what I mean? It's
impressive build. You can never take the Goldberg build away from him, but it's like, you're right. It could have been anybody if like they were booked correctly.
Ahmed Johnson had an impressive build. You gonna put the strap on him?
Mm-hmm. You can put the strap on him, you're going to put him in the main event, or you're going to throw him down to ECW and have him beat Christian on the last show. I'm still bitter about that, but that's another story for another time.
Yes, it is. I do remember this time they were kind of, you knew it was coming. It just, the end of the road to Goldberg and Triple H, I could have swore at the time that was going to main event SummerSlam, like you said, and why we didn't get that. But on one end, you had, you know, Triple H kind of winding down the shitty Kevin Nash feud, and obviously the Booker T feud was in the, you know, the rear views. Meanwhile, I was
surprised he wasn't in that match.
I know. And you had Goldberg just demolishing Chris Jericho, who, by the way, a year before, he's complete afterthought in the company to where he was before, the first Undisputed Champion. It's amazing how far down he fell fast.
And how fast.
Yes.
Like, he was still doing, like, the main event matches, but when he wasn't in a main event match, like you know, it's like we're skipping months sometimes and weeks sometimes. Those weeks, he's feuding with nobodies on Raw. He's doing nothing.
Yeah. And they put him in that feud with Goldberg too at this time, where it's like, oh, it's going to be based off their WCW heat.
Greenberg.
Yeah, their WCW heat they had backstage, which, I mean, except at the time for the extreme, like, diehard fans, didn't even know that was a shoot. You know, they had heat or whatever. They just knew what they knew on TV. You know,
that was the one time where I heard about Goldberg's input into the creative direction, and I was like, yeah, that's how it should have went. But like, they had a long, dragged out match. Goldberg just wanted to go in there and kill him. That's what they should have done. But no, like, you know, they're building up Jericho, apparently, even though, like, he dove down that tier list. He plummeted. But in this weird world of the WWE, this is how they build stars, apparently. So, yeah. No. It is... Everything about Goldberg was bad news, start to finish.
Well, let's do it. Let's go to the biggest party of the summer, pal. The second ever Elimination Chamber, like you said, the participants. And you're right. It was a very weird match. Just the booking. It was. Everything about it.
Because it was strong. Like, the whole way through it, this match is actually really fun to watch.
Yeah.
But you'll wonder in the back of your mind the whole time, it's like, where's Triple H? Because, like, he came out kind of early, and he ate a super kick from Shawn Michaels that apparently killed him.
Yeah. Because,
like, he stayed in that pod for, like, I swear, it must have been 20 minutes. And then during that period where he was down and out, the other pods would slowly open, and eventually they unleashed Goldberg. And he went out there, and the next minute and a half, he did what he should have been doing from the start. He pinned 3 people.
They booked him like a goddamn cyborg in this match. I thought it was an excellent booking usage of Goldberg in this to make him that indestructible. Like, he was throwing guys through fucking glass, just destroying them, like how he should be booked.
He pinned like 3 people in like 2 minutes. Like, it was an excellent showing. It was like, there he is. I knew this guy existed. I knew he wasn't a figment of my imagination. There he is. Then he runs at Triple H.
Yep. The problem
Triple
was
H conks him.
The problem was he still had that WCW stink on him, and a lot of the fans were kind of hesitant, I feel like, to fully embrace Especially someone like Goldberg, who everything was handed to him, and it's not like he was like an RVD from another promotion, super talented. Everybody loved RVD, but you could Goldberg's first match against The Rock, the people started booing Goldberg and cheering The Rock. So I can kind of understand where they were going with we'll do the thrill of the chase, pal, and that he can chase Triple H after this.
Goldberg is not a dude that chases things.
Not with the kind of fan support that he had. Now, in 98 in WCW, he could chase. He could do that because the fans were invested. At this time, they'd seen the act. Russo in WCW 2000 on that, they booked him like ass with a shitty heel turn. Everyone was in the know now, and people were starting. It's not like it is today where everyone's goddamn went to pro wrestling school and social media, and we know the ins and outs and all the blah, blah, blah. We analyze everything. You really had to, it's like with Rhea Ripley now, how they're teasing her come to Raw. When Rhea Ripley gets to Raw, it needs to be instant. She needs to dominate. None of this pussyfooting around for 2 years. Then we're going to decide to push her when the bloom's off the rose and nobody fucking cares. Like with so many NXT people, they should have done this with Goldberg here. They should have had Goldberg.
You summed that up so well. That's my primary issue with WWE booking. You just summed it up so slick.
Yep. They needed to have Goldberg right here, laser focus, go through guys like a laser and melting butter, demolish Triple H, have a dominant run, give the people a reason to get behind Goldberg, not just make him look like a fucking dunce for 4 months and then be Triple H. You know what I mean? I just think it was.
They could have done it in 4 months with a proper build. Like, even if they just, like, I don't mind the fact that they had him come out and go straight for The Rock. That was fine, because he went over The Rock just fine. Done well. After that, if you want to build him up, get him more endeared into the eyes of the WWE fans, spend the next 3 months just having him coming out and doing not a streak, but just coming out and just destroying people, maybe 2-3 times a show.
Right.
Just have him come out and just devastate people. Probably people the crowd don't like.
I was going to say, not people like Jericho and Christian who had that charisma, and people, even though they were heels, they low-key love those acts. He needed to come out and destroy people like La Resistance, Rob Conway, fucking Chris Nowinski, guys like that. I'm with you.
That's what they did with Batista during his build, which we'll get into at some point. But when they did Batista's build, that's what they did with him. They had him go over people exactly like La Resistance.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's how SummerSlam ended. It ended with Goldberg was on a freight train momentum build, and he ran at Triple H, and Triple H just conked him with a sledgehammer, and it was over.
Just like
that was it.
That
he
was
slept
it.
in a pod for 20 minutes and then batted a guy with a sledgehammer. It was over.
It's
It
amazing.
was like, why did they do that? Apparently it was a punishment.
This was 18 years ago, correct?
August 24th, 2003.
Almost 18 years ago. It's amazing how far we've digressed in pro wrestling with just psychology, where 2 weeks ago on pay-per-view, I saw a guy get, and I just said on Slam Pigs, I'm going to double dip, I just saw a guy get hit in the fucking head with an exploding barbed wire bat, and he kicked out at goddamn 2, and then a one-winged angel, 1, 2, 3, it's over. It's the logic.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's I don't know. It's like I don't mind like certain people doing their video game stuff, but can we have a little psychology with the moves? Because you can totally do that.
Now, for what it's worth, this ending and how that was booked, that's fine. He ran full steam into a goddamn sledgehammer. He should be knocked out.
Sure. It just kind of sucks to see Triple H retain that belt when he did literally nothing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's like part of the whole stink of the Reign of Terror. That's what it was all about. It seemed like people, the way people took it was Triple H was being lazy and burying everybody. And a lot of people, like as you said, back then we weren't in the know of everything. Back then, a lot of people didn't realize the reason he was wearing those weird shorts was because he was injured.
Right.
And the problem, supposedly, well, there's a lot of specific problems, but what it came down to was he was too large for his frame. And if you look at Triple H back then, he was ballooned.
He was
like even his face was pudgy.
He wasn't.
Even his face was pudgy.
Yeah. And then we would see the after effects of that, especially after the Chris Benoit stuff when it became the Fat Game with the Fu Manchu in that era. No, I totally agree.
There is a period of that, and it was. The guy took care of his body as hard as he did. It was rough to see.
I feel like their heart was in the right place with the Reign of Terror, and I feel like they were trying to make it the modern day Ric Flair from the NWA. The problem is, for one, if a guy's injured like that, don't strap the rocket to him. Especially
put it on one of the other ones in your crew.
Not even that. Anybody else with the amount of talent he had. But I think what made it work for Ric Flair, still being a chicken shit heel in that era, he was still able to go out there and have classics with Terry Funk, Ricky Steamboat, Sting, all those guys. Triple H didn't really have that 5-star match under his belt unless it was with Shawn Michaels. Whereas Flair was kind of known with going out and working with the broomstick and giving them a classic. Triple H wasn't on that level at all. And I think...
I'm not going to lie to you. Like, you said it exactly right, because you can tell what you're saying is 100% true, because for the next 2 years, we're kind of in the middle of it right now. But from that SummerSlam match in 2002 till it might be Bad Blood in 2004, it seemed like every month Triple H and Shawn Michaels were fighting each other in some way.
Well, yeah, because that was his reliable old hat. They knew of course he was going to get a kick-ass match with Shawn Michaels. If you can't get a good match with Shawn Michaels, then you don't need to be in pro wrestling, I feel like.
But that's the thing. They've had a lot of matches in that 2-year run, and I won't ever say like any of them were stinkers, except maybe that like Elimination Chamber, just because the ending ruins it. The rest of the match was fine. But there wasn't any stinkers, but there wasn't anything. But don't get me wrong, that first SummerSlam match, that's legendary. You should go back and watch that if you've never seen that. I think it's SummerSlam 2002.
Yes.
Yeah, go watch that. That is incredible.
We gloated up and down about that match
on
part one.
His back is ruined and he can't work.
Yeah.
And then he went out and did that in jeans.
It wasn't that it was just a good match. They made it look like a believable struggle in a fight, which is pro wrestling done at its best.
They played off what we knew. We knew his back was screwed. So to watch him go out and do all that incredible stuff and oh man, it played to the audience, everything. It's a perfect match almost.
This is another reason I kind of feel like they should have just had Goldberg go ahead and just take that belt immediately. Give Triple H more time to heal up. Get him off of TV. Cool him
apparently
off.
Someone had the same idea you did, because what is it? Not even a month later at Unforgiven. 280 days later. What happens?
Live from Hershey, Pennsylvania. I know that because I could have gone to this pay-per-view, and at the last minute I opted out. I didn't go.
Yes.
Goldberg beats Triple H, becomes the World Heavyweight Champion, Melo.
That is correct. So Triple H's giant streak of 280 days has finally come to an end. And I'm absolutely sure that we're in store for a legendary and long-term Goldberg World Heavyweight Champion run. Correct? No? What?
False.
You want to know the truth, buddy?
Good.
I had to watch footage of this because I truly did not remember Goldberg being World Heavyweight Champion.
It was that unmemorable, and I will also say this, and this isn't Triple H's fault, but I can't think of a main event talent who has suffered from match placement on pay-per-views as much as I can Triple H, because we all know The Rock and Hogan. He totally got outshined with Jericho in that. And this pay-per-view, I only remember Shane McMahon and Kane having a crazy fucking brawl. and that went on before this. And I think the crowd was so burnt out from that match that once again, Triple H had to pick up the pieces from a burnout dead crowd. And
with fucking Goldberg. You know my favorite thing about that I forgot all about that Shane Kane feud.
Real quick. I don't mean to cut you off. Real quick. One more point I want to make on that, having to follow shit. Not the Reign of Terror, but as Triple H, I'm going to count it. Not to be outdone by the biggest one of all, WrestleMania 25, when him and Randy Orton had to follow HBK and The Undertaker. Holy shit. That is the only time to this day I have fallen asleep live during a WrestleMania main event was that match. It was so fucking boring. Good. Sorry, Mel.
You didn't even cover the biggest one. WrestleMania 18, when they had to follow Rock Hogan.
That's the first one I said.
Oh, sorry. I think I misheard something else. Because there's another one, then that means there's another really, really big example.
There's got to be another one somewhere in there. We'll find it, I'm sure.
It'll come up. Sorry, I spaced out there. Triple H. There's been so many bad main events like that, too. Where it's who thought? In their right mind, who thought? All right, so Triple H is on this card. We also have, look at that. Michaels and Taker, and they're going to go really long, and it looks like they're going to work really hard. Yeah, I can follow that.
Hold my beer, Dad.
Oh, that poor guy. Oh, that poor guy, man. Yeah, no, There's been like the only champions I could think of that suffered worse than that, and I don't even know if they did it worse. God. Obviously Chris Benoit and Punk.
Yeah.
Both of them had like runs that like they were the champion, but they didn't feel like the champion. It's kind of like when Jack Swagger was the champion.
Oh, Jesus God. You just compared Chris Benoit and CM
he
Punk to
wasn't the main
Jack.
event, you understood why.
I'll say that CM Punk totally got the raw end of the deal because at least CM Punk had that thing called charisma.
And he worked for it.
And Chris Benoit worked for it too, but Chris Benoit was so boring as a promo.
He was, but like, yeah, I'm not going to get into how you book him because obviously. Punk, though, they could have totally strapped a rocket to.
We were too busy, main eventing pay-per-views with John Laurinaitis and John Cena at the time.
Oh, my God.
People Power's back, by the way.
You gotta love the people power. Oh,
but yes, finally, Billy Goldberg ascends the mountain and WWE wins his first World Heavyweight title under the WWE umbrella, and it's as memorable as we both said it was. If any of you guys have any fond memories of that, let us know in the comments, because God, it's like, is it like a vault, like lost away? Excuse me. It's so fucking unmemorable. It really. I didn't even go back and watch this match because we just have so much cover in the Reign of Terror. I'm assuming it was a jackhammer, clean for the finish.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But like, there's a reason we don't remember this, because it's just like you said. Apparently, main eventing pay-per-views at the time was Shane McMahon and Kane, and this feud was built up over one of them electrocuting the other one's testicles,
yes.
One of them throwing the other one into a burning dumpster, and they sat down for dinner at a diner.
Don't forget the amazing tombstone on Linda McMahon. that was actually really shocking and really well done. She took that like a champ. She really did.
We got to give it to her.
Yeah, tough old broad.
Oh yeah, but what we learned with hindsight 2020 and all that is that this Goldberg thing was kind of a keeping the belt warm sort of phase, because they were waiting on something and we couldn't figure out what that was until October 20th, 2003. Raw. Batista, the Animal, returns.
Yep, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna compare Goldberg to the Miz. Goldberg was totally what the Miz is right now with that belt.
Transitional champion. Because someone didn't want to lose.
Well, not only that, the fans were just not as invested as they thought they would be in Goldberg. He wasn't Steve Austin. He wasn't The Rock. Jesus
With
Christ.
a build like that, can you blame them?
Well, that and just nobody wanted his Triple H at Go Away heat with so many people at this time watching. But I do remember in this match, people cheering Triple H because it was Goldberg,
Mm-hmm. Because they totally destroyed him. That sledgehammer to the head, that finished any hope Goldberg had of like being taken seriously by the fans whatsoever. Because they were like, we finally get invested. We finally believe. Oh, you took a hit to the head. You're down. All right, you're done. You're trash. Like you're what the WWE pushing for like 6 months. You're an idiot. We want nothing to do with you. That's the reaction they got.
Yep. But
and they deserved it. Goldberg didn't. He didn't deserve any of that. But it's like you said, he was not the most pleasurable to work with. He walked in with a big head.
Big old.
You don't
noggin.
do that in WWE.
No, especially when you come from the competition. It's not like he was he was signed from the NFL or just one of
Never
these
even
like.
thought of that. Honestly, you're 100% right. Not only did he come in with a big head, he came in from the big head from the company that tried to run them all out of a job.
Exactly.
So they're probably like, we already don't like you, but now you're just confirming our thoughts. You're a jerk.
And by no means was he in-ring talent, and people have their thoughts about him. Say what you want. At least when Eric Bischoff came into the WWE, he was humble. He was a good company employee. Yes, sir. Exactly. He was just grateful to fucking be there. They didn't have to sign Goldberg.
For the opportunity, Vince. Thank you.
Yes. Obviously, Goldberg wrote out that Turner contract. That's why he didn't come in the invasion. That's why so many guys didn't. Why would they? They could sit home and get paid, which he did. there was demand and curiosity for guys like Goldberg and like bring in Goldberg, but I don't think it was. I think people wanted to see Steve Austin return to the ring way more than they wanted to see Goldberg debut in the ring. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. That's kind of what we were all waiting for. And, like, unfortunately, we didn't realize at the time that WrestleMania 19, he had wrestled his last match.
Yep. You got to give it to him. He's one of the few guys that stuck to that. He really did retire. Especially we see Edge about to main event in 4 weeks, which is, if you would have told me that 7 years ago, that's insane. But you know what isn't insane is Evolution being a mystery. Evolution has formed like Voltron. All the pieces are complete. And once again, the game is the champion, and the band is together, Melo.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of Evolution as a whole?
November 16th, 2003, Survivor Series.
Were you into this stable in its prime?
Evolution?
Mm-hmm.
At the beginning, I was interested, but I was kind of hesitant because I've watched how they booked everything for the last couple of years. Because I was like, are they actually going to try with these guys or what? Because this Randy guy, they keep putting him on TV, so they apparently think something about him. But yeah, no, like Survivor Series, Goldberg, it was weird. Goldberg beat Triple H. Again, kind of clean, little shenanigan-y, but not long after, not even a month, Armageddon, December 14th, 2003, Triple H defeats Goldberg and Kane to become champion again. Apparently, Kane electrocuting Shane's balls was leading to something. Apparently, he was going to get put in the main event at some point.
What better way to get a shot at the title than assaulting the owner's wife?
Well, apparently assaulting the owner's wife and fighting with his kid puts you high on the card. Just ask Braun Strowman this year at WrestleMania. What the hell is that?
It's the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards because now they're doing slime, and just from what I saw on Twitter tonight, Shane slimed Braun Strowman. Wow.
Wow, the mighty have fallen.
By the way, how is this the same goddamn Shane McMahon? I know we're going off topic. This Shane McMahon back then was a daredevil. He was insane. And I know he's no spring chicken. But Christ, I've seen Terry Funk wrestle matches in his 60s, and he sweat less and breathed less heavy than Shane McMahon is just cutting a promo. He needs an EKG yesterday. Please, somebody check him out in medical. Holy shit. Armageddon 03, though, yeah, the AAA.
That's right.
New champ.
Evolution's really coming into it because not only did Triple H leave with the big gold belt, hashtag, Evolution left with all the gold, baby. Randy defeated Rob Van Dam, and he held the IC title for 7 months. And Batista and Flair, they had an adorable little 3 months tag team title reign after winning a tag team turmoil match. Guess who their final opponents were before they won the tag belts?
The Dudleys? I'm just guessing.
Nope. We were talking about people falling down the card, right?
Jericho and Christian.
No. Their final opponents were Steiner and Test. This is where Scott Steiner ended up. He was in tag team turmoils.
Jesus Christ. That's awful. We talked about how this was kind of their modern Ric Flair with Triple H, what they wanted it to be. Because Triple H has obviously gone on record. He's such a huge, horseman, Ric Flair mark. And obviously he had total creative pool like Hogan and did in WCW at this point. He was the son-in-law, pal. This was totally the WWE's version of the Four Horsemen. No doubt about it.
Absolutely.
100%.
This is when I started really paying attention to Evolution. I was paying attention before. But now I was really paying attention because now I had to. They had every title.
I think we dabbled in a little bit last on part 1, but it wasn't even meant to be Batista, which is the crazy part because there is footage. The fourth member was actually supposed to be Mr. Mark Jindrak, and if you see those pictures, it's fucking weird. It does not.
It is weird because he fits right into that segment, but it looks like someone photoshopped him in there.
Looks like somebody photoshopped Hammerstone in Evolution. It's really creepy.
That's actually really. That's it.
But then I feel like going into Rumble 04 that year, it was back to Shawn Michaels, right, for Triple H?
You're 100% correct. It actually began right before the Rumble. It wasn't even 2 weeks. No, it was actually 2 weeks after Triple H won the big gold belt. The showstopper was barking at Triple H's heels again for that gold belt. And on Raw, they had a double pinfall match. Or sorry, they had a match that ended in double pinfall. I don't know why I wrote it like that. They had a match that ended in double pinfall. It was Triple H and Shawn Michaels. So this had to have a conclusion. Because apparently they pinned each other. Maybe that means it's time for the showstopper, Mr. WrestleMania, to go for the gold at the Royal Rumble.
Was this a last man standing match?
It was a... that is what they call it in the WWE when you like fail to answer the 10 count, like laying down. Yeah, it's a last man standing. They called it something else in WCW.
I don't remember this match really, a lot of it, just because these two, like we said, they blend together all their matches. They've had a million of them. I do remember that match on Raw. Now I'm glad you brought that up because that's on the Shawn Michaels Heartbreak and Triumph DVD, and it was actually a really good match with Insane. I think that was in San Antonio, and that crowd was going ape shit for Shawn to win that match.
Yep.
He didn't, but a really good match. This was also the same pay-per-view that had Hardcore Holly getting a shot at Brock's belt, but look at the ratio on this, by the way. Shawn Michaels, Triple H, World Heavyweight title, Hardcore Holly, Brock Lesnar, WWE. Like, god damn.
This match ended pretty much the same way it ended on Raw. Both of them failed to answer the 10 count. So this feud would continue. And it's like you said, I actually didn't catch that. Good on you. You caught a note that I didn't. This was the Hardcore Holly experiment. And this is where Brock Lesnar taught Hardcore Holly what happens if you F around. You find out.
7 minutes.
But there was a couple other little tidbits before I let you talk about that, because it's an interesting little moment. But a couple interesting little tidbits. This is Scott Steiner's last match in the WWE. And this is when Chris Benoit wins the Royal Rumble. He beat Bob Backlund's record from 1993. He stayed in the Rumble for 1 hour, 1 minute, and 30 seconds.
That's right, guys. He who shall not be named. We're going to name him here on this channel. We don't give a fuck. Chris Benoit went to Broadway. Is this still the record to this day, or do they purposely go out of the way to...
I believe they went out of the way to beat that, but you'll notice I'm not actually calling him by his real name. I'm calling him Crispin and then Wah.
I'm going to call him the Pegasus Kid. How's that?
Hey, I like that.
It's a Japanese gimmick.
Yeah.
I think they broke it with Mysterio like 2 years. They couldn't wait to have this record broke, so they had Mysterio do it, I think, at the 06 Rumble.
I believe it was Mysterio that broke the record. If not, Edge probably just did it.
It's true. But obviously we all know where this is going. This is going to segue to that match at Mania. But before we get there, I think we're going to the 3 stages of hell, pal.
Oh my god, we go to a whole bunch of weird things. I got a bunch of weird random notes here. The 3 stages of hell is on the menu. Other things that are going on at this time, just to paint a picture. Lone Star Dustin Rhodes appears on TNA, which apparently concludes the Booker and Goldust duo, because he ain't working for them anymore.
Where the hell did that note come from? I love it. That's so random.
Isn't it? Because I didn't even notice. I was confused. I was like, how did that team end? And I looked it up, and that's how it ended. He showed up on the competition.
Lone Star. Lone
February 15th, No Way Out. This is where Eddie Guerrero defeated Brock Lesnar via interference from Goldberg and a frog splash. This is where Latino Heat came into his own and became the champion of all our hearts.
I think my favorite part about you coming on a podcast with me, I was like, hey, this is our topic, but you're like, fuck it, we're doing the year in review, 03, 04, and 05. We're going down all of them.
I just really want to paint the tapestry of this whole period.
No,
It's
I love
weird.
it. I love it.
It's a very strange period in wrestling. But yeah, you're right. 3 stages of hell, buddy. And let me guess. How many stages did they get through?
3. That's like asking, in the War Games match, who won the initial coin toss, the heels or the faces? The heels won every fucking single one of them, so they could have 2-on-1 at the beginning of War Games. It's always going to be the heels, and it's always going to go to 3 stages of hell.
It just makes sense. But where was this 3 stages of hell match? Because No Way Out was a SmackDown pay-per-view.
I don't know.
I believe it was on an episode of Raw, but I actually don't know which one in specific. Because this Triple H and Michaels feud continued all the way to WrestleMania, so it could have been anywhere between that Royal Rumble and WrestleMania.
Somebody listening to this episode right now is like, excuse me, screaming at whatever device they're watching this on, like, it was on Raw! What the fuck? It was like, sorry, guys.
No, but it was like, I'm pretty sure it was a Raw, and I'm pretty sure it was like, well, I mean, that's going to be a great Raw if that's your main event.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to say this, and this might be a controversial take. I didn't like when Austin and Triple H did it. I am not a fan of this 3 stages of hell match. I think it's too much. I think it's for one, it's
too obvious.
It's a fucking marathon too. It's like an Iron Man match for me. It's like, well, I guess I'm gonna doze off halfway through this because strap in.
Especially when they end in an Iron Man match.
Yes. It's too much. Way too much for me.
It is way too much, especially because it's like I don't know. Okay, so it's 2 out of 3 stages if like one guy wins. It's like the first stage is, let's say, ladder match. So the first guy beats the other guy damn near to death with the ladder and then pins him. And then stage 2, he gets up and then pins the other guy. How the hell does that work?
Isn't the third stage always the Hell in the Cell or something?
I think so, but like I've seen variations where it ends in an Iron Man match or something ridiculous. It's like, I've been through half an hour already, guys. Stop.
Yeah, especially, I mean, if you're looking at this from a kayfabe aspect and psychology-wise, one ladder match alone, what's going to be left of either guy? So it's like, as soon as you win that ladder match, okay, then just go down and easily just pin the guy 1, 2, 3 real quick. There's second fucking fall. He just went through a goddamn ladder match. But, they're fresh as a daisy all of a sudden because it's a second stage.
Oh, absolutely. It's like their power levels restore once the pinfall happens.
This was a weird time for the Shawn Michaels character for me because he came off as a whiner. You've had all these fucking
his
shots.
Outfits always looked like slightly off. He had short hair. It was bizarre.
The weird bob.
And it wasn't long. It wasn't short. It was in that weird in between phase, the awkward one.
Yeah. Boy, I'd say he came off like a whiner because by now what seems like 3 million shots at Triple H's title, right? Some he won, but he lost more than he hadn't. And you got this guy over here who just busted his ass in the Rumble, who fairly won the right to face Triple H at Mania. And you got Shawn Michaels interrupting Chris Benoit in an episode of Raw, like, wait a minute, I can't do Shawn Michaels' voice.
You don't belong in this match. This is mine. I'm going to kick you, and I'm going to beat you up every week, and I'm just going to tell you that you don't belong, and then eventually he just signs a contract, and he's in.
Like, this is a babyface? It's kind of what we're going through right now with Edge and the Daniel Bryan stuff. Right?
Well, it's like what we were going through in 2014 or 2015, whenever the hell it was that I started to have thoughts of just stopping watching wrestling, which materialized in 2017. I still watch matches, but I'm not every week dedicated to the show like I used to be.
Who could blame you?
And it was because the way they booked Roman. I was like, the whole time, I was like, why is this guy not a heel? He'd be like the greatest heel you ever made if you just made him a heel, because he acts like a heel, he looks like a heel, he walks like a heel, he fights like a heel, but he's a face. Okay.
He's a pure alpha. This isn't the Attitude Era anymore where people love that shit. We got your swagger.
Now it's you're just like, man, this guy's a dick.
And who would have thought he's the best thing going in the entire company right now because they finally made the decision to do that.
Yeah, I'm watching this. Everybody's like, wow, Roman's amazing as a heel. Who would have thought? And I was like, where were you in 2017 when literally everyone was saying this?
Yeah. Yeah, and even at that time too, on Slam Pigs, Michael and I would always say, put him with the Usos, make the Samoan Dynasty stable.
Cool.
Look what we have. I mean, Jey Uso.
Well, they kind of missed the boat with the Crime Time C Nation thing, so they should have totally tried to I don't know, let's take our big single star and put him with a popular tag team kind of deal. There you go, the Uso family.
Yep, but
would have been money.
I'm assuming you agree with me on how Shawn Michaels was booked like a whiner.
Oh, absolutely. He came off as the total just ignorant. He was like a heel.
Yeah,
he was like a whiny Chris Jericho heel, is what he reminded me of.
Now, WrestleMania had come a long way. This is the 20th one. It all begins again. It was a big deal, Madison Square Garden. And the earlier WrestleManias, it was always pretty much a given that if the babyface was going into that main event chasing the title, it was that feel-good moment, right? It was a layup. Hogan was going to win. Brett was going to win, blah, blah. The Reign of Terror had put so much mistrust in the fans' hearts by this time. Even with that great Rumble win, making it a triple threat, I was still hesitant to thinking Triple H is going to walk out of this fucking thing still the champ and be pissed off.
Oh, absolutely. It seemed obvious that one of the other two was going to win, but you're the whole time you're thinking Crispin or the Pegasus Kid or whatever, Mr. Dynamite, whatever we want to call him. He's the guy that should win this match, but it really seems like they're booking him to be not even an underdog. It seemed like he was the guy that didn't belong. And it was okay, this kind of makes me think that they're going to give it to one of the other two, because the other two have been feuding for what feels like 2 years at this point.
Yeah.
Clearly, that needs a conclusion. Otherwise, why are they putting them two in this match? Yeah, there's question marks everywhere.
And by now,
especially after 19.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Booker didn't win.
Yep, we had seen Triple H.
I was totally ready for a Triple H win here.
And just like on part one, we'd seen Triple H go through so many guys like that people have just long, just clamoring, like Rob Van Dam, Booker T. I mean, hell, even Kane. And Triple H beat them all. Beat them fucking all. Mm-hmm. And it was just always that hesitance with Triple H in the match, that uneasy feeling. Oh, it's kind of like watching Jeff Jarrett matches in TNA, like you said. I was like, Jarrett's probably going to win this fucking
match?
thing.
All right. Oh, there's the finisher, but it's Jeff Jarrett, so I will not do anything until he doesn't kick out.
And now it's kind of like what we have when Cody's in a match. Oh, Cody's in it. Well, he's probably going to win because he's fucking Cody. You know what I mean?
He just took the biggest move I've ever seen, and he's up.
The Shaq Powerbomb.
That's the one. I saw that, and I said, that is, wow. Why would you even have him come in here and powerbomb you if you're going to just get up?
I am blown away that Cody did not win that brass ring ladder match at Revolution because Cody was in it. I mean, why the fuck not? WrestleMania 20 though, what a! I like this WrestleMania. I don't feel like it gets talked about enough. As bad as the Brock and Goldberg match was, it's the train wreck you just can't look away from, and it never gets old to go back and watch that crowd. It never gets old for me.
Oh, absolutely. No, sorry, I sound far away. It's because I was actually kind of seeing if I could actually just grab it. But no, it's like you said. WrestleMania 20 is one of those WrestleManias don't get talked enough. And it is really good, start to finish.
It is.
It's just, I think it's because of that cloud over the main event, because we know who goes over, we know how it ends up, and it was one hell of a moment until several years later when everything changed.
True. That send-off, too, I mean, it was for... The Eddie and Crispin Pegasus thing posing with the confetti was so classic, and it's such a shame that you don't get to see that in WWE's library now. But I think an even more criminal thing is that one of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history happened on this card nobody ever talks about, and it's Eddie Guerrero versus Kurt Angle. I fucking love that match for the WWE title.
The finish?
All of it.
The finish.
All of it. It's fan-fucking-tastic. Anyone that hasn't seen that match, go out of your way and check it out. It's not too long. It's the perfect length. If you haven't seen that match,
you don't know what Eddie Guerrero is all about.
Mm-hmm. Or Kurt Angle. Hell.
Or Kurt Angle, because that is one of his best matches.
Mm-hmm. But I highly enjoyed this match, the triple threat for Chris Benoit, Triple H, Shawn Michaels. Obviously, Chris Benoit, won the belt. Made Triple H tap, which, my God, Triple H just tapped out to somebody, not named Goldberg or somebody. Shocking.
I literally freaked out when that happened. I did not.
I did too.
I thought Michaels might have been in the match to take the tap out.
Right. Well,
to set up a rematch kind of thing.
And I think
I was like, why else is it a triple threat?
I think why the crowd went so ape shit for this finish, and why you and I jumped in front of my TV. I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. It was one of those moments. At the time, Chris Benoit was in that class of guys like a Rob Van Dam, guys like that. I was like, please do something with this guy. I watched him
something. He was the reason I was watching WCW. Like when I went to wrestling school, and I'm not going to say the time period or how long I went. I didn't go long. It was too hard. I could do it, but it was really hard on the body. So I was like, oh, okay, this is the kind of thing I'd probably just rather be like a manager or a ref for, and I don't want to do that. So let's move on to other things. But yeah. During that whole period, when I walked into that school, I thought, I'm going to be like Chris Benoit. That's the style I want to do, because it was believable, because it was hard-hitting and impactful, and it was yeah, he needed a little charisma. But could you outwork the man? No. The dude it was intense, the stuff he could do in a ring.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. And finally, the Rocket was strapped, we thought, to Chris Benoit. Now, finally, the world champ, and heading into Backlash of 2004, it's Chris Benoit and Triple H, correct?
Oh, absolutely. And Michaels is back again. The funny thing about this, because I do remember that Backlash match. Yeah, it was a rematch of the WrestleMania thing all over again. But in between all this, a week after WrestleMania-ish, March 22nd, Raw, Triple H was drafted to SmackDown.
For a day.
He's on the B show. And then later on in that match, Eddie Guerrero defeats Triple H for the WWE Championship. He retained it against Triple H, and then at the end of the show, Triple H was drafted back to Raw.
Traded for a fucking combo meal for the Rob Van Dam and the Dudleys or something, right? For 3 guys.
Yeah, it was like we made such a good deal. Who'd you trade Triple H for? Who? The Dudleys and RVD, and it's like,
That was the first ever draft. I'm pretty sure that I had taped on VHS, and I actually liked that episode of Raw a lot. That '04 draft. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a much needed shakeup and a crucial error to not put Triple H on SmackDown. I got so many more fresh matches. It would have been interesting. People, I mean, I know that Evolution was the Evolution just had that match at that same Mania against the Rock and Sock. Evolution was dominating, but I don't know. Something needed to shift.
No, it would have been interesting. It would. You could have sent all of Evolution over there if that's what you wanted to do.
You could have.
I'll tell you, that Eddie Guerrero versus Triple H match, you got to watch that because, yeah, more of that. Yes, please. If he went to SmackDown, we would have got that.
And we could have got Triple H and Brock so many years before, WrestleMania 29 or whenever that shit show happened. Which is Brock in his prime. And well, actually, no, because Brock was fucking gone by then. Hello, Minnesota Vikings training camp.
That's correct. He left right after WrestleMania 20.
Mm-hmm. But no, back to the Raw. I'm glad you brought up that draft, man. I was totally going to, just sail by that. But no, back, stays on Raw, the 3-piece and a biscuit combo for 3 guys, traded back. And just, more of the same, just, more Chris Benoit-ness and afterthought Benoit.
Backlash, the main event was just the same thing we saw at WrestleMania. By the way, I didn't mind seeing that kind of rematch. That WrestleMania match was excellent, and the rematch was also excellent.
And that, because we're almost running out of time, so we're going to speed it up a little bit, guys. And it finally seemed like they were starting to get it, and they were cooling off Triple H in the title picture a little bit. And there just happened to be this new character that came into the company. It was taking the wrestling world by storm with one of the most ridiculous gimmicks that shouldn't have got over as much as it did initially. That it did. A guy called Nick Dinsmore, Melo. Eugene. Holy shit.
That's correct. Followed up Bad Blood, June 13th, where Triple H defeated Michaels in the longest Hell in a Cell match in history, and it felt it, let me tell you. But, somewhere around there, Eugene made his big debut. Really happy-go-lucky character, really, really catchy piano music. And he liked to imitate all his favorite superstars and do their finishers in the middle of matches. It's quite interesting, because he almost immediately began feuding with Triple H. And cost Triple H in two matches, consecutively. First at Vengeance. Let's call him Pegasus Kid. He defeated Triple H because of this Eugene character's help. And then, July 26th, Raw. 60-minute Iron Man match. Pegasus Kid, Triple H. Who cost Triple H? That spunky Eugene fella. Tell us about Eugene. What's up with this guy? He seems really electric, really alive, really happy and full of life.
Triple H was so hated and had so much go away heat with fans, and people were just so sick of him at the time. Only he could turn William Regal babyface in this era, but he did.
He did an excellent job at it, too, because let me tell you, I remember the feeling in my heart. I remember it as clear as day, as ridiculous as this whole thing was. When Regal finally stepped up and told Triple H, now you back off, Eugene, this instant. I was like, whoa! Eugene he got gumption. He's speaking up. And that's when we thought. This was kind of like a weird little side project. It didn't go anywhere. Things happened. But they were starting to think about making William Regal almost maybe a main eventer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think he could have done a good job, but personal issues got in the way, we'll say.
Right.
But let me tell you, Eugene, he had a whirlwind tour, baby. Year later, remember that SummerSlam we mentioned? Well, this is the one where Randy Orton takes on the Pegasus Kid for the World Heavyweight Championship. And what's going on in the Reign of Terror world? Friggin' Triple H is fighting Eugene at SummerSlam.
Yep. Yep, and as over as Eugene was his first month or two, people were loving it. By this match in SummerSlam, people were starting to turn on the gimmick left and right. They were cheering Triple H up and down in this match.
They overplayed him way too hard.
They did, and this entire SummerSlam pay-per-view, and But I know you love the fact that at this time, every time they went to Canada for a pay-per-view, they'd always call it Bizarro Land on commentary because the fans would always do the opposite of the reaction they wanted for the most part.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my favorite part of this comes from WCW when they'd come over to Canada and they'd really play into like where we flip on them. I remember Ernest the Cat Miller one episode just coming out there and like he called out some people and they were getting booed out of the building and he's like, "You stupid Canadians! These are the good guys." I'll never. Oh, Ernest the Cat Miller, you were a treasure.
I'd be remiss to not bring up just that incredible. One of my favorite things of the Reign of Terror was that incredible beatdown. The whole setup that Evolution gave to William Regal. I mean, they beat the shit out of him in kayfabe, and it holds up. It's really brutal. But that obviously that would segue to this match. That would drive Eugene to his breaking point, and he fucking snapped and blah blah blah.
He thought he was going to get serious.
He thought he was going to get serious, and he has the match, and the golden shovel was out again because by the end of this match, what happened?
Oh, let me tell you, Triple H put Eugene down. And by down, I don't just mean pinned him 1, 2, 3. I mean, like after this, Eugene went
killed
down
it.
the card.
Killed it 100%. This killed the momentum Eugene had, and it's not as bad as the fans are already kind of tiring of it. I don't think it helped the gimmick's case because we were knee deep in internet and the Observer's been around for 30 fucking years, but everybody was in the know at this time because it was '04. The internet was very prominent.
Absolutely.
People figured out he wasn't really disabled, and that really offended a lot of people when they found that out, and they just started turning on the gimmick left and right.
And it was unfortunate because Dinsmore seems like a guy that had a hell of a lot of talent. I believe he still works for them to this day, training people. Does he not?
I believe so. He was. If you go back and watch the early OVW, he was like a shooter wrestler in that. He was a hell of a worker.
He's a hell of a worker. It's just they kept sticking him with weird gimmicks. I don't know why. But we did have one shining bastion of hope in this match. It would get snuffed out later. We'll talk about that maybe some other time. But let me tell you about that, friend. That's called Randy Orton versus Pegasus Kid there for the big gold belt.
Yep. This was the big one.
A star was born.
This is one of the biggest moments of the Reign of Terror. A star was born. We thought so, but it would take a little bit longer. Randy Orton beating Pegasus Kid clean, which was shocking at the time.
I remember it. He got up, and he looked like he was going to cry, and then Crispin walked right up to him holding the belt, and he's like, "Be a man! Be a man! Be a man!"
Yeah.
And then they shook hands, and apparently that's what he was yelling about, but all right.
Chris,
but that's like kind of like where you got kind of an inkling of like, is Orton going face?
Yeah. Kind
of got that inkling.
For as good of a heel is, first of all, Randy Orton, especially young Randy Orton, was the perfect professional wrestler. He had the perfect look for both a babyface and a cocky, like alpha heel that you wanted to hate, like a frat boy.
When we try to have him play both now, it doesn't work. But back then, you could get behind a face Randy Orton. They just booked him terribly, usually every time. But you could. Mm-hmm. If they had booked him correctly, you could totally get behind a face Randy Orton.
And I think the next night, for the celebration, was he christened the Mercy Drive song, or was that like a month later they didn't give him that yet? He still come out to the Evolution
music.
music.
Very much the next night.
Okay.
It's very much. They did not waste any time.
They couldn't wait to get that fucking tune out there.
A little intrigue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Could have been like, well, all right, how's Triple H going to handle that guy being, the number one dude, and he's not? Apparently not well, because the very next night we got the first glimpse of the thumbs up. They hoist Randy Orton up on the shoulders. Triple H gives the thumbs up, and then he turns it ever so slowly towards the ground. Thumbs down. And then Randy Orton in slow motion almost goes, "What? No!" And then, Batista just falls backwards and slams him on the ground. I remember the video replays of this. It would look like he was like, they made it sound like he was shot with like a gun or something. It was great. It's good stuff.
Let us not forget we got the close-up little thing of Randy Orton, going, "Oh fuck," on camera.
Yep, that we did. That'll be immortalized. It was like, we didn't realize how much of a rascal little Randall was, but boy, would we learn over the years.
I'm going to come clean right now and say this was my favorite moment in the entire Reign of Terror. I thought this was excellent. Nobody saw it coming. It was beautifully executed. But the problem was the follow-up on this was so bad. They couldn't have buried Orton anymore on all the rematches, all the heat. It was like
3-4 weeks straight of burial.
Maven.
which led to Unforgiven.
Don't forget Maven.
Do you remember what happened to Unforgiven?
Unforgiven was Triple H, Randy Orton, correct? And Randy Orton went ahead and lost already, right? A month later?
Yep. Wasn't even a month later.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a full month for Mr. Randall Kenneth Orton's first title reign.
Way to push that fiery young upstart, Vince.
You're thinking, oh, it's all right. Orton will chase the title, right? Well, let me just give you a little glimpse before we get too into it. About a month later at Taboo Tuesday, it was Triple H defeating Shawn Michaels. Where did Orton go?
Down.
Sounds like he got pushed down the card just like everybody else.
Didn't he wrestle Ric Flair on that card?
I believe he was going after. I think that was like kind of like I think they were trying to try and do an Austin thing with him, where he'd pick off the other members of Evolution or something. It didn't work.
Okay, right.
Didn't work. And how quick do we want to run through the rest of this, or do we want to stop soon? How do you want to go?
I think we're about at that moment. We're getting damn close to where the Reign of Terror officially. I mean, obviously, I think for both of us, we agree it ended at WrestleMania 21 when Batista beat Triple H for the World Heavyweight title. The new era really began on that Mania with Cena and Batista being the new kings or whatever. But
Absolutely.
To be
a quick little rundown.
Well, to be totally honest, the fall of 04 was such a shit show for this title, and just the Maven as GM for a night, the Survivor Series teams with Maven in the main, it was just so Maven, and just fucking up Randy Orton's push, more Triple H and fucking Shawn Michaels, here we go again, and just more of the same, more of the goddamn same, man.
Yep. By November, it was over and over. It was just Michaels, and then eventually we got that Survivor Series elimination. Triple H, Snitsky, Edge, and Batista versus Orton, Crispin, Y2J, and Maven, baby. Orton's team wins. But then on Raw, it came to a draw between Triple H, Crispin, and Edge. Orton's not there. Title becomes vacant. They had an elimination chamber at New Year's Revolution. A very important pay-per-view. Because I believe Edge might have done something impressive here.
Oh, that was a year later. Oh, okay.
Might have been a year later. Remember New Year's Revolution, though? Great pay-per-view usually. But Triple H won this elimination chamber. Got his belt back. Why did the title become vacant? Who knows? Maybe just give another notch in the belt. Royal Rumble, Triple H is defeating Orton. Ends the feud between Triple H and Orton. Apparently there was a feud, even though, nothing would ever go. Story would go forward for a few weeks because Batista won the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. And now Batista got to choose. Does he want to go after the Raw belt? Or does he want to go after the SmackDown belt? Does he want to fight JBL? Or does he want to fight Triple H?
No, they teased this for a while. By the way, that Royal Rumble finish was they could never book anything and plan anything because it was a botch. Cena and Batista simultaneously at the same time went out. Vince McMahon coming out, the Legendary tearing his quads at the same time.
Yes.
Everybody was so confused. Why is Vince sitting down?
Why is he sitting yelling at people?
Apparently he was livid. They restarted. Batista was supposed to win the Royal Rumble, and obviously that botch happened. But it is what it is. I wouldn't change a thing in how that played out because we got
that was a perfect botch, let me tell you.
They did that better than Lex Luger and Bret Hart planned. That timing of that, it was amazing.
Yep,
amazing. But by now, by the way, Orton for some reason he had like the gimmick where Stacy Keibler was his girlfriend, right? And we're still
he was suffering concussions.
We're still babyface Orton, all this stuff, and for some reason he just RKO's her on Raw. Oh, poof, you're a heel again. You're going to feud with Undertaker going to the Mania. But Triple H. Triple H and Ric Flair tried to suck Batista's dick up and down to get him to sign on the dotted line to face JBL for the SmackDown title. This is pretty well done, too. I didn't hate this build.
It went forward for a few weeks. Triple H didn't want Batista to pick him, so it's like, I'm not going to repeat what you said, but it's a pretty apt description of what they were doing to get Batista into their favor. They were telling him, oh, don't pick me. That JBL, he's out to get you. And then they tried to arrange a JBL tried to hit you with a limo plot that Batista had overheard backstage when Flair and Triple H were talking about it. Yeah. That idiot better make the right move for business. And that's when Batista did that little silent little nod, and he walked away. And the seeds of a little bit of betrayal, a little bit of turning, they were finally planted, and you were happy to see them. Because February 21st, 2005, Raw. Batista challenges Triple H, turns on him, takes him out, puts him through a table, picks up the contract, leans over him. Hunter, I'm staying right here on Raw. And at WrestleMania, I'm taking the world champion from you. The deal is done. The untamed spirit of the animal has made its decision. Batista will stay on Raw. Batista will go to WrestleMania. It is set in granite. Batista will challenge for the world title at WrestleMania 21.
Badass son of a bitch is going to WrestleMania.
Yes, perfect. And what a WrestleMania it was.
By the way,
I think
that
this is
Batista
pretty much-
bomb through that table was fucking brutal. Oh my god.
I watched it again tonight. It was mint.
Flush.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was actually knocked out from that. Like, he has, like, you know, the half the coat over his face. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God,
Triple
yes.
H would have put that.
Now, watching this live at the time, it finally felt like Melo. We were finally getting to the end of that dreaded reign. It finally felt like we were there. Did you feel that too, watching this live at the time? Like, finally, it feels like it's coming to an end. They're going with new blood.
Oh, absolutely. It finally felt like this long-ass story that we didn't know where it was going. It didn't seem to know where it was going. It finally felt like it was coming to its conclusion at WrestleMania 21 with Shawn Michaels on commentary, because this guy can't go away ever. Batista defeats Triple H.
Was Shawn Michaels on
And
commentary?
Triple
for
H
that
came
match?
out? No, he wasn't. That came later. That was down the road,
Okay.
I think.
Gotcha.
Triple H fought Batista at Mania a second time, many years later.
Oh my
Was
god.
that Mania or what was that at?
Wait, did they have a Hell in a Cell a month later after this? For the
Oh my
rematch?
God, did they ever? But like, let me tell you, Triple H came out to Motorhead. He was trying his absolute best, and let me tell you, pretty good match. Started really slow. It's a slow burner.
Yeah.
I'll warn you right now. The first 2 minutes is pretty much like tests of strength.
Yeah.
But then after that, it goes right into like counter hit, counter hit, counter hit. Ric Flair gets involved. Triple H is doing stuff. Shenanigans are going down. But Batista overcomes. And we have a new champion. Finally.
Jim Ross is,
And yeah,
is having
we
another
thought it was over.
have another boner at ringside on commentary. My God, going nuts.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we thought it was over. It would continue for a few months. I believe it ended at Vengeance in the Hell in a Cell.
Right, right.
And then Triple H would take a hiatus for minor neck problems.
But
and this match,
What?
the end.
But would not continue Melo. Triple H wouldn't sniff that world title for at least 2 or 3 years after this.
Yeah, he had too much DX to do through 2006, 2000.
And that was it. That was
Some point there. Towards the end of that, I think both of them were in a world title match with somebody. And I think Hornswoggle was their mascot or something.
oh Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Yes, I remember that. But no, they did it. We did it. We ripped the Band-Aid off. That was the Reign of Terror. A reign of terror so long it took 2 parts to get it all in. I hope to God they never do something like this again with, and like we talk about Cody and stuff like that, but
Jeff Jarrett,
I
TNA.
hope, I hope
Early TNA Jeff Jarrett is the exact same thing.
I hope when people go back, like a Tony Khan or current bookers in any promotion right now, they see a Jeff Jarrett and TNA at this time, or Triple H, how they're booked, what not to do, and how much business that was just flat out lost. How many people tuned out from Raw? I mean, SmackDown was carrying
All my
this
friends
goddamn.
left.
Same. I barely was hanging on. SmackDown was carrying this company in this time period.
SmackDown 6 until one of them was drafted over to Raw and got involved in this goddamn reign of terror.
We started this journey on part 1 talking about the SmackDown 6. God damn it, we're into it talking about the SmackDown 6. And the next time you come back on High Spots, man, I can't think of a better topic, actually. What do you say we talk about the SmackDown 6?
We could actually take notes and, like, talk about a good thing.
We can actually have fun talking about what we're
Oh
talking
my
about.
gosh, what an idea.
I
I think we
digress.
should do that someday. I think that's a good idea.
I digress. I had a blast doing this with you, Melo. Thank you so much for charging 2 parts. A total of almost 3 hours it took us to cover the Reign of Terror. Thank you so much for all your extensive note-taking. Suffering through Scott Steiner, through the Booker T's, through the Katie Vicks, through the Jesus.
It was so painful the second time. It was worse the second time than it was the first time. I didn't think it would be, but when I saw it the second time, oh, especially the Katie Vick. I really have no idea how anyone thought that was a good idea.
I don't know how I got away with airing footage of that and not get copyright struck. Probably because they don't want to claim any part of them ever airing that, so they don't give a shit that it's on the channel in video clip form.
Oh my God, you're probably right.
Probably. Or the Booker T racism angle, too. I used a clip from.
Where half the feud was recorded in the bathroom, I'm sure.
One more time before we get out of here. Melo Dotty, Milo Duty. Where can everyone catch it and all that you do?
That's right, Milo Dotty. Melo, New Jack approved. Don't mess with me or he'll come and get you. But you can find me over on Twitter at Melo Dotty. And you can find me Twitch TV/Melo Dotty. And keep your eyes open. I'm working on things and doing some stuff. And maybe I'll come back on this show and we'll talk about SmackDown 6 someday.
Can't wait to have you back. I will see you on the Melee. And by the way, I didn't notice the first time I watched the New Jack cameo where he shouted out the Melee. He calls me a biggie instead of Hibiki. I didn't even catch it. So I'm a biggie. I'm a biggie-sized fry, and you're Milo Duty.
I'm Melo, so you're the biggie. So you're Biggie, and I'm Melo.
Either way, I'd never question the man's grammar because I, quite frankly, don't want to be murdered. One more time on Twitter at the Hibiki TMB. That red button doublers. Hit it, subscribe. All the goodness. Retro gaming, pro wrestling, heavy metal podcast, everything in between. Your official Hibiki TMB merch. You can smack.bigcartel.com. As always, Broken Optics on Twitch. Catch myself, Milo Duty, Optic, and Kite Man over there. If it's a co-op game, you bet your sweet, pretty little ass we're going to play it. This is Hibiki Highspots. We suffered through 3 years of the game. Until next time, see you then.
Absolutely.